talk about. I want to talk about this Louis C.K. shit. You heard all about that? Louis C.K. got his fucking dick out, and then he got in trouble, and he took a break for a year, and now he's back to doing stand-up, and he's in trouble for the jokes that he's telling, and I think that it's fucking bullshit. Firstly, I'd like to say what Louis did was gross, and was bad, and was not good, and I think that there's a lot of people saying, oh, but he asked, and it's not that bad. I think the problem with that argument is Louis himself said that he fucked up and it's all true and it's very bad what he did. So I would rather believe what the man who gets his dick out says rather than some fucking cunt on Twitter who doesn't like women that much. So I think what Louis did was fucked up. However, I do not think it should destroy his career permanently. I don't think that it was criminal what he did. I think what he did was a fucked up thing to do and a bad way to use his influence as one of the biggest comedians in the world when he did it. But I also don't think he probably realized the influence that he had. And I just think it was a series of very, very bad fuck-ups that shouldn't destroy him, but definitely should make him think. And I think that's what's happening. Now, that aside, I think what's happening to Louis is, as a stand-up comedian myself, is a fucked up thing. What's happened is Louis just started performing again, and he started doing comedy clubs. He's mostly doing surprise sets. Luke Kidgel, when he went to America, got to see Louis, and I'm so fucking jealous. Luke said he was really, really funny, and he did really, really well. So what's happened is, obviously, the people that are fucking angry about it have gone up in arms on Twitter. And in response, the comedy clubs that he's performing at have introduced a policy where if someone gets on stage and you don't like them, you can leave and you'll get a full refund. You'll get your money back. You don't even have to sit through the show. And I imagine that's to discourage people from heckling, people from getting angry, people from feeling ripped off or you know, going to a club to see someone and then, surprise, it's Dicks Out McGee. And everyone goes, oh, that's fucking whatever, right? I think that's great. And as a comedian, that's fucking awesome because that means that, you know, if someone heckles or if someone hates you, they can just leave instead of heckling, rather. So, that policy's been introduced. Now, Louis has just come back to stand-up and someone secretly recorded a set of his, an hour-long set, and they leaked it, and essentially what the world has seen is an hour of unfinished, unpolished material from Louis C.K., and they're fucking angry about it because he's joking about the kids that were in the Parkland shooting, he's joking about the younger generation, and basically, the joke that he's getting the most in trouble for is the younger generation complaining about shit too much, being entitled, the gender pronoun shit, and also quite a funny idea, which I think is just basically the premise is just because you've been involved in a school shooting doesn't make you interesting and doesn't mean I should have to listen to you. That doesn't automatically mean you're qualified. That's kind of the premise of the joke, which I think has a lot of fucking potential to be very, very funny. But the problem is, the whole world has heard both of those jokes when they're not finished. They're not done. And I hear, as a comedian, I'm like, oh, those jokes are both like 70% done. And it's so easy to get to that 70%, especially with a dark joke. You can get any joke to 70% done. But when it's a dark joke about something fucked up, that final 30% is jumping over all of the hang-ups that people have, because obviously, you know, you're joking about a tragedy, you're joking about victims and all that kind of stuff, and very complex social issues. That last 70% is just the most brutal punchlines you can think of. It's only the funny bits, and that last 30% of the joke is wording all of those brutal punchlines and arranging them in a way that can make even the person who disagrees with you the most laugh. That last 30% is the hardest part of the joke, and that's what really makes it fucking good. I had to go through that with my Dreamworld joke. You know, I had all those fucking 3 or 4 brutal fucking punchlines, but then that last 30% of it in my comedy special was that, okay, so I've done these brutal punchlines, but how the fuck can I make people who are sad about the tragedy still, or feel guilty about that tragedy, how can I make those laugh and get them on board and convey that I'm not laughing at the tragedy, I'm just making jokes about it. That was the last 30% of the joke for me. And I don't think Louis has those last 30% for either of those two jokes. And I think that he's copping a lot of fucking flack for it. And I think it's bullshit. And as a comedian, I think it's fucking absolute bullshit that someone can secretly record material that is not finished yet. There's a reason why Louis is not even announcing that he's doing Louis C.K. shows. So it's not even ready to release as a comedy special. It's not ready to release as a comedy special. It's not even close to being released as a Louis C.K. finished tour. The dude is in comedy clubs working on material that's not finished yet, and it's being released and it's being judged as if not only is it not being judged as jokes, so even if it was being judged as jokes, it'd be bullshit because they're not finished, but it's being judged as his fucking opinion, which is even more bullshit because it's not his opinion, it's jokes, and those jokes are not even finished yet, so there's not enough nuance to them. And I love that Louis' main premise is him joking about whiny children online complaining about shit. And how do the younger generation respond to that? By whining about it online on Twitter. And I think it's... I don't know. I just think it's a fucking scary point now to think that as a comedian you can get on stage. And this has happened to me where I'm testing out new material and it's, you know, it's working, but it's not fucking finished. And I've had people start recording me because they think it's really funny. But little do they know, the joke that I'm telling... Like, here's an example. I'm working on a joke at the moment about hitting women during sex. Right? It's a scary topic, but it's one that I think is going to be fucking hilarious. And right now, I'm at that 70% mark where it's funny, and then you get to the end and it's too much and I don't know how to finish the joke. But the only way I can work out how to finish this fucking joke is by doing it again and again on stage and getting to that end point where it's not finished and trying out this, trying out that. Maybe if I said this, maybe if I acted out that. I'm at that fucking point. And let me tell you, if you recorded one of my sets tomorrow that I'm going to do, where I'm talking about punching chicks during sex, and if you get to the end of that joke basically just ends with me describing hitting women, and it's not very funny yet. But I know that it fucking will be. And I know that in my head, even though this joke is 70% done, and it gets laughs all the way up to the end, and then it just starts to offend. I know by the time I tour in November, that joke's going to be fucking awesome, and it's going to be ready for you guys to see. Instead of me just subjecting poor strangers who just came to have a drink at a bar to it, right? But I know if some cunt just fucking secretly recorded that, there would just be headlines of like, oh, radio presenter talks about punching women on stage, and that'd be it. That'd be the end. You know what I mean? Because, and I think that everyone, the problem with comedy, man, and the reason why comedy works is because people don't understand how to do it. They don't understand how it works. But the problem is, all of these fucking idiots complaining about Louis C.K. and all this kind of shit, it's like, yeah, let's put aside the shit that he's done. People are angry, not at the jokes, they're angry at the man. That's the problem. And all these people are surprised and talking about how Louis C.K. is fucking appealing to right-wing people. It's like, no, dude, he was always joking about that shit. One of the last big sets that he did before the controversy was how amazing having sex with children must be if you're a pedophile. And the whole joke was, his whole joke was, I love eating chocolate bars, but if someone told me if you eat a chocolate bar, you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life, I would never eat another one. So, fucking a child for a pedophile, not for me, must be so much better than eating a chocolate. That was kind of the joke. And you know that when he was working out that joke, that definitely wouldn't have fucking worked. Him trying to find the perfect analogy or trying to sympathize with pedophiles using humor. You know that shit, if that was released when he first started working on it, potentially could have ended his career even worse than this getting his dick out scandal. But the point is, everyone saw it when it was finished, and everyone at that time was like, this is fucking incredible stand-up. This is, and of course some people were offended, which is whatever, but most people were like, this is like a masterclass in stand-up. You can make me laugh about a pedophile loving to fuck children. That's fucking crazy because it's a horrible thing. But if you heard that joke when it... Oh yeah, I don't know. I think it's, I think that this whole conversation shouldn't be whether or not Louis should be able to joke about this kind of shit. It should be whether or not you can secretly record a comedian while they're working on new gear without their knowledge and then sell that to journalists and then pick apart unfinished works. It's literally like kicking down the door of an artist studio and they'll be like, oh, look at your half-finished painting. That fucking sucks. Oh, there's no red in it. There's no red in it. You're a fucking shit artist, bro. Stop painting. I mean, it's a little bit different. Maybe if the artist got his dick out for a bunch of female artists, it's a little bit different. But I don't know. I just think, as a comedian, it's not good knowing that your material could just be out there, even when it's unfinished. I don't think that's... Don't record comedians when you go to their shows. Just fucking live in the moment and enjoy it, huh? All right?